Welcome to episode 171 of the Hoots podcast, right here on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Stitcher, Google Play, Spotify, anywhere you get your podcast from. My name is Joshie. Hope you guys are having a wonderful week, like I just said. I'm alongside the clown prince of podcasting, Adam Daley. What's up, my man?
Josh, what's going on? Back again? Yeah, I have no intro this week. Go ahead.
We got a lot to get into this week. A very busy wrestling weekend. Just went past by for All Out, NXT UK TakeOver Cardiff, and New Japan had the Royal Quest show from the Copper Box. I'm going to try to find a way to squeeze in both of those shows, TakeOver Cardiff, in between. Today on the show, definitely catch up what's going on with Raw and SmackDown as we're reaching towards the end of the King of the Ring tournament. Raw and SmackDown are heading to MSG next weekend, and we got Clash of Champions a week from this Sunday. Not only wrestling talk on here, but football talk, which we're going to get to in a couple seconds. Couple quick business things to get out of the way. If you like our show, please give us a 4 or 5 star rating on Apple Podcasts. More importantly, just tell a friend about the show. We like to keep positive energy on this podcast and just have fun, you know. We don't have to do this. We do this for fun. We do it for you guys who are loyal, who listen to it. Not only do so, shout out to the ladies who check out the podcast as well every single week. And just all you good brothers and good sisters who've had our backs over the years. We appreciate you guys. And thank you for taking us, letting us into your homes or your ear holes or whatever way you want to express it. But you can do that. Just check out the show. It's on like 15 different streaming platforms. Also, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at the Hoots Podcast. Make sure to check out ProWrestlingTranscriptions.com. That's my place where I do my play-by-play articles. And yeah, that's pretty much it. This weekend-wise for me, I really got busy, obviously, due to doing the 3 shows. I've been trying to find some cool down periods because I had like a crazy work schedule the week prior with at the tattoo shop. But besides that, man, it just keep on the grind. And I found a way. I found enough time to get into the CM Punk interview that aired on Fight TV, which was really good. And it was just a really, really fun wrestling weekend, no matter what side of the fence you're on or yada yada yada. I just think you got everything you could ever want as a wrestling fan this weekend. And for me, more importantly, just my quick takeaway from the Punk interview. For me personally, as one of the biggest CM Punk fans in the world, I felt like I got my wrestling closure from CM Punk on Saturday. It's good. I think we all can move on from it now. So that's my takeaway for the interview. And yeah.
No, I didn't see the full interview. I mean, I caught little like snippets like here and there, but yeah, I mean, I think the same thing. It's good that like everybody can kind of turn the page. I mean, it's finally, then I think everybody should have gotten what they wanted out of it. So
right. There was just a couple of funny stories I wanted to mention on here from the interview. I was talking about this the other day with Jeremy. When CM Punk was in OVW and he was the ECW champion too at the same time, he went down there to just check out television tapings because he was still living in Kentucky at that time when he was the ECW champion. Tony Atlas came down there and talked to the roster, and you know, usually they'll have legends or veterans of the business come down and talk to the younger roster talents and this and that. And I think you guys know the story about CM Punk getting into a confrontation with Tony Atlas because Tony Atlas didn't like the fact that Punk was taping up his hand and this and that. I guess there's some old law about hiding foreign objects under your wrist tape and this and that. And later on, when they had the full like roster like meeting or the seminar, if you will, for Tony Atlas, he's like, all of you guys have been great. I'm going to give great reports to the front office, except for that one asshole. And Punk wasn't really paying attention to what Tony Atlas was saying, which I think is pretty funny at the same time. And then sooner or later, he said that Punk said that he was sitting next to Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins. They were the Major Brothers at the time. and they're texting Punk saying, "You know he's talking about you, right?" And then Punk finally looks at Tony Atlas and he's like, "You calling me an asshole?" It was some really funny stuff, man. Let's see what else really stood out. Oh, yeah, the story where he was driving around the town with Harley Race, and they went to a bar one night. And when Punk was driving Harley back to his hotel, Harley threw up in Punk's car, and then Harley's like, "I'm sorry that I puked inside your car," and Punk's like, "It's all right, dude, it's okay." And then he, all covered in leftover pukage, hugged CM Punk. That wasn't a funny story, but it's messed up. If you haven't had a chance to watch the CM Punk interview that they did on Fight TV at Starrcast, it was really, really good. And like I mentioned earlier, it's cool to get some wrestling closure. And no matter what you thought about the past podcast that he did and whatever misconceptions or assumptions you have about CM Punk, the person or the character, I thought there was some good clarity that came out of that interview. And yeah, so
I thought the story about the with The Rock was cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool too.
It just seems like older, wiser. It's kind of, I don't know. From what I saw of it, I really liked it.
Right. Let's talk some football, shall we? I put it out. I said it last week, right? Yeah. This week would be our football show. It's not gonna be too long. We're not making predictions for Super Bowls or MVPs or anything like that. We're not football experts. I, due to my schedule, can have some more time and being more the sports junkie out of the both of us, but we're both football fans. I'm a Chicago Bears fan. If you guys can't tell by watching the video right now, I'm a Chicago sports fan. Adam is a fan of the Oakland Raiders. What we're going to do here, we're going to give our thoughts on what we can see from our teams, and I'm going to leave it at that. There's some other stuff I wanted to mention going on football wise, but yeah, we're gonna talk some football. Shout out to A-Rod, by the way, big Raider fan as well, so I think he's gonna get a kick out of this segment. Yeah, let's get down and dirty to it, man. We just finished up the Hard Knocks series on HBO for the Raiders. I think anybody that's living under a rock has recorded this show on a Thursday. Antonio Brown is once again getting himself in the position to be the number one story of the NFL again before the first game goes on air. First off, before we get to the AB stuff, what did you think about the Hard Knocks show in general as a Raider fan?
It was cool. Listen, as a fan, it's one thing because we're so voyeuristic or whatever anyway, but I just couldn't imagine being a player. It really has to be a distraction. I don't, and they said the success rate from the teams that have been on here is pretty low anyway. I could see why. There's a constant distraction going on. So, but as a fan, it was fun to watch. It was fun to see what they allowed us to see. Obviously, not everything, but yeah, it was cool.
Right. All right, bro. Go ahead. What do you want to talk about for the Raiders this year?
I don't know. Probably the Antonio Brown's about to become a New England Patriot, which is, I'm guessing, what's going to happen. But because that's what always happens. But I don't know. Listen, I all offseason thought we'd go 8-8, so I'm not really going to stray from that. 7-9, 8-8, something like that. Well, we're not a playoff team, but I don't really think they even give a shit if we're a playoff team, which is what's sad. I just think they need to see improvement. And as long as if we go 4-12 again, Derek Carr is going to find himself going to have to look for a new job. But I just, it just depends on what happens with AB, or really not just moving forward to kind of without him. I still think we could probably win 7 games, but yeah, I don't know. I don't think they don't really care. What's the sad part is they don't care to win in Oakland. As soon as we get to Vegas, they're going to be one of the, and I hate to say this because the league does favor certain teams over others, whether we want to buy into that or not, but we're going to be one of the league darlings because we're going to bring in a lot of revenue. Because that city's going to, so then things are going to change. It's almost like when the Rams finally went to Los Angeles from St. Louis, people didn't care until they got to LA, right? And I think right now with the Raiders, nobody, I mean, obviously the Raider fan base does, but nobody else cares until they get to Vegas, So this is just like Oakland's swan song in a way. And it's sad because there's a lot of like the diehard Raider fans out in Oakland are really, which is the entire goddamn city, but they're losing a part of their culture. So there's a lot of like good and bad of what's going on in Oakland, but anybody that's talking about Oakland as like a playoff team or this or that is like kind of crazy, I think. And I mean, I thought that all off season. So I don't know. We'll say 7-9 just because I don't know what's going on with Brown.
Yeah, what I find interesting with with what's going on with John Gruden and stuff is like what I know from the past is that John Gruden has a quick switch. The fact that they have 4 quarterbacks on the roster is interesting too. I guess they put Nathan Peterman on the injured list. So I guess that's why they got Deshaun Kaiser on the side too. I don't know, man. It's kind of weird. Just looking at before I talk about the Bears and this and that. There's obviously some obvious things that could come with the NFL, and yes, we know the Patriots will probably be in the Super Bowl again. I guess everybody's shoehorning the Eagles to be in the Super Bowl this year, and I wouldn't say that's not the case. They got a really good team. It just all depends on how healthy Carson Wentz is, and I think what gets lost in the shuffle here is that while yes, the Eagles have had multiple playoff appearances over the last couple of seasons, Carson Wentz has never started any of them. So I know how good of a quarterback he is. I'm not saying he's not that, but it's one thing to have and pad your stats during the regular season. This guy hasn't started one game in the playoffs. And I'm not saying it's his fault. It's just he's been injured. So I find that dynamic interesting with the Eagles. I think certain teams, and I'm not saying this because whatever, but it's like certain teams get a break one year for one schedule. Some teams have tougher schedules for what it is, I mean, the Patriots are the benefit. They benefit from just being in a perennial horrible division every year, So, just looking at going back to the Raiders, I can agree. I can see 7-9. I'm very curious to see how things go on the defensive side. Even if there's not enough production or whatever offensively, the fact they had spent a lot of draft capital this past draft on the defense, I want to see if that guy Jonathan Abram backs up the talkies, backs up all the smack he talks. So I want to see that.
I think a lot of that was because cameras were on too.
Mm-hmm.
I do. I hate it. It's such a distraction, man.
Cleveland Farrell. I don't watch college football, but I know a lot of people that were hyping him up before the draft. Was a very talented guy from Clemson. A lot of talk about Josh Jacobs, the running back from Alabama. Could be a rookie of the year candidate. Nobody's going to come on here and question John Gruden's IQ for football. It's just I find it unfortunate that even with the Hard Knocks attention and spotlight, it's like one thing tops another. It's Antonio Brown this week, Antonio Brown that, and then there's other distractions.
Well, here's the thing, though. Like the league and fans of other teams and stuff, there was like every year, it's like, man, we feel bad for you guys. We feel bad for you guys. Well, haven't you guys caught on to a pattern yet? This is every year for us. So this isn't like everyone's freaking out like, oh my God, all the drama. This is every year as a Raider
fan. Let's see what else I can mention real quick before I talk about the Bears. I don't know if I believe in Super Bowl hangovers, especially for teams that lose. I know the Falcons had a big drop off. No, that's not true. No, it's not true because the Falcons, when they lost to the Patriots, they made the playoffs the next year, but they lost to the Eagles in the second round. Yeah, now I remember. But there's always this like narrative, oh, the Rams are going to be bad because they lost in the Super Bowl. How's that going to mess up with their head and this and that? They still got a talented squad. And it just always goes back to how you evaluate players. If you're making a total assumption of how a player's going to be in one season, I don't know, especially for rookies, because when Jared Goff got in the league in 2016, and everybody's like, "Oh, he's going to be the worst quarterback ever." They have no chance or future with the guy. The next few seasons, he's in the Pro Bowl. Yes, he had a bad performance in the Super Bowl. Jared Goff just had a 4-year contract extension with the Rams, and I think he deserved it. And he's is he the best quarterback in the league or whatever? Not yet, but I'm sure there's 10 or 12 teams that would like to have Jared Goff as their quarterback as opposed to who they have right now. So I don't know if there's going to be a drop-off for the Rams. There's two things in NFL I don't believe in. I don't believe in the Madden curse, and I really don't believe in the Super Bowl hangover for the teams that lose the Super Bowl matchups. So,
I don't know. I mean, I think it's there because you lose a couple of players in today's league, even if it's one or two, and it does make a big difference.
Injuries do affect that, yeah.
Yeah, injuries too, but even like the free agency and stuff. And typically when you get to the Super Bowl, you're kind of looking to cash in somewhere.
Right.
You don't have the loyalty that you used to have. So I mean, I think it's a viable thing.
Right. All right. Let's get into it. Let's talk about the Bears. Really quick, I want to give a shout out to the city of Chicago for finally stepping up and making the statues for Walter Payton and George Halas. The fact that the charter franchise of the NFL doesn't own their stadium, the Bears Soldier Field is owned by the Chicago Park District. And there's been things and fans in the city have been clamoring for a Walter Payton statue ever since he retired and unfortunately passed away in 1999. Walter finally got a statue this week. They revealed it on Tuesday. It was a really cool moment. And George House, the owner of the team. Just shout out to the Lori Lightfoot and the people that the new administration here in Chicago, because I think it's kind of ridiculous in on paper, the fact that the football team doesn't actually own their own stadium, that it's owned by the Chicago Park District, and there's always ancillary things you got to get approved and this and that.
I don't know who owns. I thought this. Well, that doesn't mean anything if a city pays for a stadium either, or it does part. I don't know. I don't know how that works.
Yeah. But I'm just glad that Walter finally got a statue. It looks pretty dope, actually. If you guys haven't seen it, go look it up on Twitter or Instagram. I'm sure it's up there. It's a pretty cool statue. So I'm happy for his family. I had a chance to interview Jared Payton, his son, before when I was on ChicagolandSportsRadio.com doing other shows that were not wrestling related. Really cool dude. And while I never got to watch Walter Payton play live, obviously, Sweetness was one of the greatest football players of all time. So I'm happy that I'm happy for his family. More importantly, that they finally got the statue up for him. So it's pretty cool. All right, let's talk about the team. Last season, I said anywhere between 8-8 or 9-7 would be progress because we were making the transition from one coach to the next. And you guys know how I am with wrestling when it comes to context. I really don't deviate from what I think about certain things. I wasn't expecting them to win the division. Hell, I was kind of like debating with myself how the season last year was going to go out because Mac got traded literally like 5 days before the Bears played the Packers last season. So like I didn't know that much about Mac either because I didn't watch all the Raider games. I know he was a good player. I know he had all these accolades and this and that, but I never really watched how much he affects the actual defense side of the ball. And then we all saw what happened last year. The Bears were in the top 5 of defense. Last year I said 8-8, and I know a lot of people are gonna just go and say, "Oh, you're just being a homer and this and that." I'm just looking at where the overall landscape of the team is. our best players are either 25 or 28 years old. The oldest player on our team is Kyle Long, and he just turned 30 about a couple months ago. I want to give a shout out to the GM for realizing and maximizing on talents who are younger and not only signing guys that are like 31 or 32 because of name recognition. A lot of the success for the Bears defense before Khalil Mack got there are from homegrown talents that are already in the system, like Kyle Fuller, like Eddie Jackson, like Eddie Goldman. Roquan Smith last year had a really good year. He was our draft pick last season. I could keep going. Let's see. Adrian Amos last year had a good season. Now he's with the Packers. Congrats for Adrian. He got to sign his free agent deal. But I think any good football team that has sustainable success comes from players that are homegrown talent and not always acquired by free agency or trades. And Mac is a great player, but what bothered me about the conversation that in the perception of the Bears is, it's only Khalil Mack, and then it's bust. If you don't have Khalil Mack on the field, the defense sucks. That's not true. So this year, I don't think we'll win the Super Bowl this year, but I do think that the team will win the division again this year. I'm not sold on the Vikings. I'm not. The fact that Mike Zimmer and his team's been touted as perennial Super Bowl contenders for the last 5 years, and yeah, I get it. They lost a couple years ago to the Eagles in the NFC Championship game, but nothing much has changed with their team, and their defense has got older. So unless Kirk Cousins is the Kirk Cousins that everybody hypes him up to be, I just don't see it for their team. I think Detroit could be better. I'm not going to come on here and say, all the NFC North teams are going to be bad and the Bears are going to be good. I think Detroit could be better. I like the moves they made in the off season, and we'll see with the Packers. I have no idea what's going to happen tonight or the season when it comes to the Packers because it's a new coach. It's a new coach. I know who Aaron Rodgers is. I know who he is. I know who Devontae Adams is. But I don't know the 9 other guys that are on the offense. Their defense is rising up, but they got younger players. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Packers make the playoffs too this year. But I just think from where we are as a team, and I'm not going to go on a Mitch Trubisky rant or anything like that. I already talked about that a couple episodes ago. But I just like where the team is from a youth standpoint. And we do have the NFL Coach of the Year on our side. So I kind of like our chances. So last year I went 8-8. They ended up being 12-4. So my prediction for this year for the Bears, I think they go 11-5. So that's my prediction. I could be proven wrong. I know what everybody's saying. Oh, how are you going to have a playoff team if you don't have a kicker? Trust me, I'm still trying to figure out how we get a new kicker. You think I like going on watching shows on NBC and they got freaking jokes about the double doinking this and that? No, it's not fun. I get it's a joke.
I think most people forgot about that though. I think only you guys remember that.
No
offense. I'm pretty sure it's.
No, I watch a lot of national sports shows. They bring it up a lot. I watch a lot of this stuff more than I should at times. Either way, I just think, like I said earlier, I just like where the team is from a youth standpoint and leadership standpoint. If they miss the playoffs, then they didn't deserve it to be there. But what I think is interesting with the Bears is that from my lifetime, there's never been a Bears era for me where they've been making the playoffs every single year, Like, it was like sporadic. Like 2006, they made the Super Bowl. They got ran over by Joseph Adai in the Indianapolis Colts. 2010, nobody expected it to be in the NFC Championship game. Jay Cutler gets hurt, and we have B.J. Raji having a pick-6 touchdown, As a Bears fan, I've never seen the team actually have teams that make multiple playoff appearances. maybe this
Dude,
could,
in the past 18 years, we've had one season above 500 and went to the playoffs with a guy that never even took a snap in the NFL before.
how many Super Bowls
It ain't as bad. Trust me.
How many
It could
Super
be
Bowls
worse.
do you guys got?
3, but I mean, we're talking back in the 70s and early 80s. It's not like we've been this dominant team as of late.
My dad was 11 years old the last time the Bears won a Super Bowl.
Yeah, I was alive for it.
So I'm very excited. This is the most excited I've been for a Bears season. It could go in many different ways. You could miss the playoffs. You could repeat as division champions. I don't know if we'll make it to the Super Bowl. There's a lot of good teams. I'm sure a lot of people are going to go with New Orleans, and I think it's fair. I mean, how that NFC Championship game went last year was kind of ridiculous with the Pats interference stuff. So I'm open to anything. I just want to see some good football this year. I think the last couple of years has been like a lot of drama, and teams are just tanking just to get higher draft position. So I just want to see some good football this year. So Bears 11-5. That's my prediction this year. Boom.
11-5 is. I'd have to look at your schedule. I don't know. I mean, it's such a strange league because it's a copycat league and people catch on to people so quick now. I don't know. It's tough because the NFC is a little stronger this year.
Yes, it's not AFC are not as dominant as they used to be.
No.
I think it's like the Wild Wild West out there, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I guess it's whatever refs you get that day too.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Was there anything else you wanted to add to that or no?
No, I mean, I don't know, man. Like, now that football's about to start, I guess, it's at least we can get back to some normalcy. No, yeah, I don't know, man. Like, I'll admit, like, even in the drafts I did, there's just a lot of players that I have no idea who plays where. I don't follow any of this, like, in the off season and stuff. So I don't care, So, and it's nothing against football, and stop people that are like, oh, the XFL is going to be a thing. No, it's not. Just stop. It's really not.
Yeah, but I'm excited to see what happens tonight, and there's a good slate of games. It's gonna be interesting to see how the Cleveland Browns handle all the hype that's been behind them. I think they got like 3 or 4 primetime games this season. So
who has those?
The Browns.
Yeah, that's gonna be interesting too.
Yeah. So
I don't know how you just. I mean, I understand they're exciting, but it's nothing against. I love it's fun seeing the Browns be talked about, but you kind of have to prove it first,
right?
I don't know. And Pittsburgh somehow always sneakily makes they're end up making the playoffs somehow. It doesn't matter who they have.
And we'll get to see whether or not Patrick Mahomes is the next Joe Montana, as I hear every single time I watch ESPN shows or Colin Cowherd. But it should be a fun football season. I'm looking forward to it. Tonight, Bears and Packers on NBC at the Lakefront. Bears are celebrating their 100th year as well. I guess the Packers were in a different league before they joined the NFL because they celebrated their 100th year last season, right? So,
I have no idea.
Yeah, so
I'll say sure.
It's going to be a cool environment, so I'm very excited for it. I'm nervous. I don't remember the last time the Bears beat the Packers on an opening night game, whether it's at Soldier or at Lambeau Field, but I don't know. I just feel with the way the season ended last year, the playoff game, and some ancillary national stuff, I kind of think the team has a chip on their shoulder. Hell, Aaron Rodgers could throw 5 touchdowns tonight. I have no idea. We'll see what happens. But this is the most excited I've been for a Bears season my entire life. And with our track record, we could probably be 3-13. Who knows? But
well, the NFL is just it's a really crazy league anymore, And I know some people don't like it for different reasons, this or that. But the one thing it's really, with the exception of a couple teams, it's really not that predictable, There's been a lot of parity in the league. It's just, unfortunately, this is the era of Tom Brady. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I like Brady, actually.
I like Tom Brady, too.
Yeah, I mean, that's...
Well, for me, anytime
I got over the top roll. I shouldn't have.
Anytime Maybe I have like Brady fatigue from him being in the Super Bowls, but I never like discredit what he does as a football player. I don't like Bill Belichick. That dude's a freaking asshole, but
I like
he's good. Yeah, so we'll see what happens tonight. And for those who are listening to the show, let us know what you think, what's going to go on with your teams as well. I'm curious to see, because I do watch a lot of sports. I do listen to a lot of sports talk radio, and just I'm a big football junkie, so I'm very curious to see how things go off for certain teams. Not just Bears. Like I love NFL Red Zone. That's my thing. The Red Zone, doing fantasy drafts, that's also a lot of fun. We did a fantasy draft the other night, which was really cool too. And yeah, it should be fun. Football's back. I can't fucking go, man.
Yeah, I mean I'm excited. I mean, I'm always excited for the beginning of football. You know, fantasy obviously makes it a lot better. I think everybody kind of like chips in and plays now. But yeah, I mean, my team doesn't play till late Monday night, so I'm still, for me, it's like I'm still waiting. You know,
right. All right, let's move on. Let's talk. I'm gonna recap. Jeez, I'm gonna recap what happened at the World Quest show really quick for New Japan Pro Wrestling. They had 8 shows. They had 8 matches on the show this past Saturday. Shout out to Hiroshi Tanahashi. He's the brand new Rev Pro British Heavyweight Champion. He defeated Zack Sabre Jr. Yes, Zack Sabre Jr. threw another Christian-style temper tantrum in the backstage area after the show's over, which just became more funny as the more he loses in New Japan. I like what he's been doing. He's shown a little more of his personality, and I think it's a good thing, though. Let's see what else stood out to me. Ishii and Kenta, I think, had the best match of the show. I put a video on my Instagram account at Joshie Lopez 94 of this palm strike exchange where, I don't know about you guys, would a normal human being sit in the Indian position and slap another person for 5 minutes in a row? I don't know. I get a kick out of it. I think it's funny. It's really some really good hard hitting stuff, and that's the stuff I do like about New Japan. And when they do forearm exchanges and this and that, not only is it fun to watch as a wrestling fan, but also it helps me out as a transcriber, where I'm not juggling trying to figure out how to separate the paragraphs and like what part of the match is this and that. So I think New Japan does a good job at how they space out their matches. Okada and Suzuki was a really fun match. That was the main event of the show. Okada defeated Suzuki to retain his IWGP Championship. Jay White is going to be the next challenger for Naito's IWGP Intercontinental Championship. We got the Destruction Tour coming up a week from this Sunday. 3 specials in Beppu, Kobe, and Hiroshima. I'm going to be transcribing those shows on ProWrestlingTranscriptions.com. And after Destruction is when they do their King of Pro Wrestling show as well. So I'm looking forward to that. On the King of Pro Wrestling show, they announced they got 2 big matches on it. Jon Moxley against Juice Robinson. That's going to be a no DQ match for the U.S. title. And Okada will put his title on the line against Sonata. So, by the way, I want to send my thoughts out to Jon Moxley. Hope things are going well with his MRSA thing and his elbow. Hopefully he gets to recover before the AEW show. But we'll see what happens. There's some cool stuff going on with New Japan. I really enjoyed World Quest as a show. They got this tag team called Aussie Open. It's the first time watching the performance. Mark Davis and Kyle Fletcher. They took on the Gorillas of Destiny. Very good match as well. So you had a little something for everybody. The fact that New Japan continues to do shows outside Japan, I think, is a good thing. And they got a U.S. tour coming up in a week or so. So go support New Japan Pro Wrestling. They're doing some good shit. Damn right, pal. Also,
so much wrestling.
Yes, there's a lot.
Much.
There is. We were talking about this before we came on air today. The draft's coming back. There hasn't been a certain date yet announced for the draft, but I just saw that the draft is coming back for Raw and SmackDown. I think it's a good thing. I know why they did the wild card rule and the Superstar Shakeup, just different elements for USA Network. But now you have two shows on two separate networks. You're going to get a little separation in how you view the characters because it's not Monday and Tuesday anymore this fall. It's Monday and Friday. So I'm very curious to see how the perception is for certain WWE shows or feuds are when you're not like, let's say, for example, a pay-per-view week, right? You have a pay-per-view, Raw, and SmackDown. And by the time SmackDown's over, for people who don't do what I do, like doing articles and this, that, you're probably tired and some things are clicking, some things may not. And I'm just very curious. So now you have the draft come back. You have people. You're not going to have the intertwining brand stuff. So
plus NXT too, if you think about it.
Yeah. Thanks. So, yeah, the draft come back. I think it's a cool thing. Let me talk about NXT UK Takeover. Before we get to this week's show on SmackDown. I kind of figured we'd probably talk about All Out, right? With AJ this week.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
All right, cool. NXT UK Takeover Cardiff was my favorite show of the weekend. It was that good. I've touted New Japan specials in the past, some Lucha Underground shows, especially when they did the Ultimate Lucha stuff. But if you haven't seen NXT UK Takeover Cardiff, please do. It's some really, really awesome matches. Cesaro against Ilya Dragunov was freaking insane. Cesaro did like 40 revolutions of his Cesaro swing, which is awesome. The Cardiff crowd was amazing. Let's see what else stood out. Oh, shout out to Kaylee Ray. She's a brand new NXT UK Women's Champion. I was kind of surprised by that because I said I had the feeling that Toni Storm was going to retain, but Kaylee Ray won, so it was a good match. So we'll see what things go on that end. Shout out to Flash Morgan Webster and Mark Andrews. They defeated the Grizzled Young Veterans and Gals to become the new NXT UK Tag Team Champions. Nolan Dar defeated Travis Banks. That was the opening match. That one was really good. And then I got to talk about Walter and Tyler Bate. It's one of the best WWE matches I've seen this year. The whole story for people who don't watch NXT UK, the thing with Walter is in his group called Imperium, their stance is they think the mat is sacred, and they think a lot of the performers these days treat the in-ring stuff as a joke. Like they think that stuff that Mustache Mountain does or the New Day does, it doesn't fit the old school wrestling style. So that's their role to show. They're like the old guys that they want to have serious wrestling, right? That's their gimmick. And then you have Tyler Bate, who twirls his mustache, rolls around the ring before he throws his towel at the ropes, this and that. It was a very interesting storyline. And what they've been doing with NXT UK the last couple months, just from a good guy and bad guy point of view, it was awesome. The match went over 40 minutes. I don't know how Tyler Bate is standing this week. This dude is... I know a lot of people talk about his strength, but this dude took like 50 chops to the chest during their match. It was insane, man. I loved Walter and Tyler Bate. It's probably the best NXT UK match besides ones Tyler Bate had with Pete Dunne a couple years ago. It was really good. I loved TakeOver Cardiff. The tag team match was just as good as the main event as well. So for those who haven't watched TakeOver Cardiff, please do. I want to get your guys' thoughts on it. It was really, really fun to watch, and the NXT UK brand's on fire, man. It's really, really good, and I'm very happy for those talents that have the opportunity to be on that platform. A lot of these talents still get the opportunity to perform in independent promotions too, so it's kind of cool. And It's a lot of fun. We were talking about this a couple weeks ago. Maybe you could see maybe 2 or 3 NXT UK specials a year. You can rotate it throughout the season, and yeah, I am a mark for NXT UK, and I'm not ashamed of it. TakeOver Cardiff for me. All 3 shows I watched this weekend, TakeOver Cardiff was the one that stood out the most to me. So,
yeah, I still got to go back and watch it. It's a busy weekend. Busy weekend.
Right. Anything else you wanted to mention, bro? You've been kind of quiet so far.
Yeah, no, not much to say, man. Like because I didn't really get caught up on too much. I've been sick most of the week, so I'm just kind of winging. I'm really just here so that way I didn't skip a week. So, yeah, I'm here for. I'm like your Andy Richter today. I'm here for your one-liners.
Oh gosh, jeez. Anything stood out to you from Raw or SmackDown this week?
Oh man, I still like what they're doing with the 24/7 title.
Mm-hmm.
But what do you think about Elias versus Baron Corbin in the finals of the? Even though it doesn't make sense in one capacity, what do you think about them two in the finals of potentially the King of the Ring? I
don't think that'll be the finals.
Who do you think? Who do you got?
I think it's gonna be Corbin and Chad Gable.
I want to know why I'd like to see Chad Gable win. I mean, everyone that's left would be a fun, would be fun to see win. But yeah, Monday I didn't pay attention to obviously the Bayley heel turn. Obviously, that's going to stick out. I'm interested to see where this goes as far as it looks like probably going to end up at 2-on-2 somewhere down the line with Ric Flair trying to get copyright of the man.
Right.
Yeah, in a man moniker match. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, it was like I said, I kind of sped watched this week just trying to catch up with everything. So
the King of the Ring stuff's been really cool, man. Just looking back at the matches this week, I thought Cedric Alexander Corbin had a really good match on Raw this week. There was a little bit of controversy with what happened with Samoa Joe and Ricochet. As opposed to giving Corbin the bye because they didn't have a conclusive finish. Next week on Raw at MSG, it's going to be Corbin, Joe, and Ricochet in a triple threat match, which I think is the better choice. And it gives you a week out to promote it as well. Nice little attraction piece for the show next week. And yeah, I think that should be a pretty cool match. So whoever wins that match will represent the Raw side of the King of the Ring tournament. Chad Gable defeated Andrade Cien Almas on Tuesday. That was a very good match as well. And they've been really harping on the storylines as well. It hasn't just been just the matches. I think Corbin has done a good job adding more and more heat as the rounds go by. There's been an underlying story about Chad Gable being the underdog and a lot of the guys pointing fun at him for his size. I think Samoa Joe did something like that on SmackDown on Tuesday as well. And he still finds a way to upset people. And, Chad Gable is a very, very good wrestler. And honestly, he wouldn't be in the tournament if they didn't care or he didn't have any skills. So, obviously, there's a lot of options, and we were talking about this last week. Any of the guys would be having a great opportunity to win the tournament. Of course, I would love to see Andrade as King Andrade. That'd be cool. Elias could still find a way to win the King of the Ring. Elias could fight Ricochet in the finals, and Elias could find a way to become the king. There's still ways to make these guys that are heels still find a way to win the King of the Ring tournament. But what Baron Corbin's been doing the last couple of weeks has been awesome. All hail King Corbin. I'm riding that bandwagon with Corey Graves. All hail King Corbin. So I think Corbin and Gable in finals, that would be my choice to go to.
Yeah, because, I mean, you'd almost think there's a reason why Gable's still in it at this point, Mm-hmm. Otherwise, they would have just had him, working and probably duck out in the first round or something. So, and I'm standing firm that I'm okay with any of these guys winning.
Right. Other stuff this week, I thought Erick Rowan did a really good job in this segment with Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns. Rowan put Daniel Bryan through the table. We're going to have Roman Reigns against Erick Rowan at Clash of Champions. Let's see what else happened this week.
Forgot about that. I like that too. Rowan did kind of hold his own.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he didn't. They didn't make him look out to be like a jabroni, so that was a cool thing. Speaking of cool, we had a new episode of the Firefly Funhouse, which was amazing this week. We'll get into that in a couple minutes with AJ, but still things are going on with Seth Rollins and Braun Strowman. Stone Cold Steve Austin is being brought in next week. First time since WrestleMania 20, Steve Austin will be at Madison Square Garden. He's going to moderate the contract signing with Braun Strowman and Seth Rollins. AJ Styles still trying to find a way to get himself into that match, but it is Clash of Champions, and I think sooner or later AJ will have to find a way to put his title on the line. I kind of think that was the reason why the OC attacked Cedric Alexander backstage. So this is how I think it's going to happen. I still think OC are going to find a way to get the tag titles off of Strowman and Rollins on Raw this Monday. AJ will fight Cedric Alexander for the U.S. title, and then you have Seth and Braun Strowman for the Universal title. That's how I see this little fantasy booking from my point of view. Speaking of fantasy booking, I know not a lot of people are familiar with Killer Cross, but I think Killer Cross is one of the best talents out there in the independent scene that's not signed to any company. I think he just left Impact a couple of weeks ago. So for me, my idea, if it wasn't going to be Roman like pulling off a Jussie Smollett, it would be kind of like a cool debut angle where Killer Cross is the guy who attacked Roman Reigns.
Right.
Nobody knows who he is. He's very talented. He's very good in the ring, and he cuts very good promos as well. So that was a fancy booking idea I had. Obviously, that's not going to happen because he's not signed to the company, but it's a cool idea. And again, I like the fact that Erick Rowan is standing. He has his legs under him. He's talking on the mic for himself. And he, like he said on Tuesday, I'm not taking orders from anybody anymore. And I think we all could forget about the stairs match he had with Big Show on a pay-per-view like 4 years ago, you know? I think,
that's right.
I think Rowan has done well for himself, and we'll see where things go on that end. Well, by the way, what do you think about the Randy Orton pairing with the Revival? Do you like that?
It fits. Yeah, it fits pretty well because they both have that like old school style of wrestling to them. You know, that old school mentality too. So yeah, I think it works out well.
All right. Let's see. Anything else I wanted to mention? Oh, myself and I, we want to send our thoughts to anybody that's dealing with this Hurricane Dorian in the South. Our thoughts with your family. Hopefully nothing bad happens. I know everybody's like, where's Kevin Owens on SmackDown this week? Kevin Owens was down in Florida protecting his family and looking over his family. So good on him.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. So our thoughts to everybody that's dealing with Hurricane Dorian right now. Let's see. Anything else I wanted to mention? Oh, real quick from 205 Live this week. Originally it was supposed to be Drew Gulak against Humberto Carrillo for the Cruiserweight title, but Carrillo's been kind of having this little rivalry on the side with Lindsay Dorado. If Lindsay defeated Carrillo, he would be added to the triple threat match. That's what happened this week on 205 Live. So it's going to be Gulak against Carrillo against Lindsay Dorado. It's going to be a triple threat match. And then Tony Nese turned into a bad guy. He joined forces with Drew Gulak again. So I think I touched every ground on all the brands. Oh, I forgot one thing. For those who are excited for NXT on USA, they announced 2 matches for the first show on September 18th. Roderick Strong will fight Velveteen Dream for the NXT North American Championship one-on-one. And then there's going to be a triple threat match. Mia Yim against Bianca Belair against Io Shirai, the triple threat match. The winner of that match will become the number 1 contender to the NXT Women's Championship. So, yeah, that's this
like
WWE.
So every show is starting to stack up shows, man. Like stacked up shows pretty well.
Yeah. It's hard to catch up, man. You know,
There's too much. There's too much. That's what I mean. I'm sitting here and it's like there's just so much wrestling going on. Like I personally can't watch like all these shows. You know, and I feel there's a lot of shows I would really like to get into. It's just there's no time.
Right.
That's not a bad thing, by the way.
No, it's cool. I think I mentioned this a couple of weeks ago. Like I'm really embracing this era of wrestling because I'm kind of getting a taste of what it was like during the territory days.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna carve all of this stuff up, man. I'm not gonna play favorites. I think what Punk said in his interview, where don't let these companies trick you, saying you have to pick one side or another. It is fucking cool that you have all these shows going on at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Oh, definitely. Absolutely. I mean, this right now is one of the most fun times to be a wrestling fan because, I mean, there's so much unpredictability. You know, there's an upstart company that has a lot of excitement. You have like a lot of good things happening with, you know, the typical universal favorite with WWE. But when you really start paying attention to what's going on internationally, and I'm talking from an American standpoint, not necessarily, you know, somebody else. I know we have a global audience, but, and, you know, from an American standpoint, when you see other Americans really starting to pay attention to promotions in the United Kingdom, promotions in Japan, you know, wrestling's in a really good place.
Yeah, I still laugh at the statement that came out a couple years ago. I forgot who it was, but saying that the business was dying and fast. No, man, it's doing pretty well for itself.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, man, Chris Jericho's been having a week, man, for himself. Like he became
amazing,
the first ever All Elite Wrestling champion. He had a little situation that went down at a Longhorn Steakhouse where he lost the title, but the title's back in his possession now, which is cool. But the funny thing is these memes that he did for a promo that he put on Instagram a couple days ago, where he was just gloating about becoming the first AEW World Champion, and he's drinking bubbly. You're saying that he had the little cup and he put it down and started drinking out of the
bottle. It's the greatest move ever. Fill up your cup, put it to the side, drink straight out the bottle. It was the greatest.
Just the little memes, and so they had this thing on Twitter where they add songs, and they, for example, they had Backstreet Boys. I Want It That Way, but instead of saying that way, they put a little bubble. Did you see the promo that Jericho did after the pay-per-view was over?
Where he's just walking around yelling at everyone?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great.
Pouring his own champagne.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so they inserted that into the memes and videos on Twitter. It's some funny stuff. It really is.
That's why I carried over into the jacuzzi video or pool video or whatever he was in.
They got one of Brock Lesnar's theme song, and it's like bubbly.
That's funny.
It's tremendous. Yeah, man, that's pretty much it. We got all the stuff knocked out for Raw and SmackDown this week. It's gonna be cool. I don't remember the last show they did at Madison Square Garden television wise. I know they did Survivor Series 2011 there, but having Raw and SmackDown at MSG, having Stone Cold on Monday and The Undertaker on Tuesday, it's gonna be pretty cool. So let's see how it is with the crowd in New York City. Hopefully they bring it this week.
I think it'll be good. I mean, there's always excitement anytime you build it as a big show, you know, and I think MSG is an arena that, regardless, it's always going to be one of their like main homes, you know, regardless whether they go there or not. So I think it'll be a good time.
All right, man. Let's get into the segment everybody's been waiting for, shall we?
Let's do it.
Yes, sir.
Hold on one second. Let me pause this up real quick. Go ahead. You can lead us in.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're about to get ready for Through the Eyes of the 9-year-old. But first, beforehand, like I said earlier, if you want to listen to previous episodes of the Hoots podcast, all you have to do is subscribe on Apple Podcasts or follow the show on Spotify. Really simple. We don't charge you money to listen to the show. However, the people that spend a minute or 3 minutes or 5 minutes on the show, we thank you for you guys. There's a lot of stuff going on, and I know there's a lot of wrestling going on as well, but the fact that you guys carve out some time to listen to our nonsense, we do appreciate it. So yeah, it's that time of the week for the most requested and the best segment in all of podcasting, Through the Eyes of a 9-year-old. AJ, how are you?
I am good. How are you guys today?
Doing pretty good.
Yes, I am very good.
Adam, how are you doing?
Oh, we're doing good. Yeah, I've been on the show though. I don't have to reintroduce myself, right? Yeah, I've been here.
Well,
What are we doing?
whatever.
All right. We got a lot to get to for your segment this week, AJ. We finally got a new episode of the Firefly Funhouse. You want to start off with that?
Let's end with that.
Okay.
Let's
talk about All Out first.
Totally forgot about that.
Yeah.
I'm going to throw this out there. I've seen a lot of hardcore matches. Good ones, crappy ones. Things that you just don't... hardcore matches that make you want to change your channel.
Yeah.
The Cracker Barrel Challenge is one of the most unique hardcore matches I've ever seen as a wrestling fan. And I've been watching this stuff since 1998.
It was crazy.
I'm not saying it was good. I'm not saying it was horrible. I'm not going to say it's trash. It's just unique. The layout of the match. And by the way, these guys pulled this off in 9 minutes and 45 seconds. This wasn't a long match either. But you're in the backstage area at a pay-per-view and you're like, okay, I'm getting ready to make my entrance. But 45 seconds later, my hands are going to be tied together and somebody's going to be pouring thumbtacks in my mouth.
Yeah.
Like, what?
And then your mouth's going to be duct taped and you have to be careful you don't swallow any thumbtacks.
Oh, yeah. So brutal.
Like, I just want to know how that is for I get it. I understand they planned this out backstage. I understand that. But even then, just as a human being, okay, here you go. Here's my entrance. 10 minutes later, I'm going to fall back first on steel ring sets with a barrel on my back. You know, like, it is very unique. I enjoyed the match. There's some funny parts of it. There's some stuff that I didn't think was necessary, but I thought it served its purpose. What did you guys think about the Cracker Barrel clash? Not challenge. I keep calling it challenge. It's a clash.
I was gonna say I don't think any of it's really necessary.
Yeah.
It's all insane.
Yeah.
Go ahead, AJ.
I liked it. I thought it was an interesting match to watch. I really did.
AJ, what was some of your favorite matches from All Out on Saturday?
Probably the Battle Royale, the Owens Battle Royale.
Yeah, the Casino Battle Royale was pretty good.
Yeah.
Is
it Royale or Royal? I don't know.
I have no idea.
Yeah, I never
It's
know.
a Royale with cheese.
Because Excalibur says Royale and Jim Ross says Royal. So I don't know which one it is.
I try to tune out Excalibur when I can, but that's just me. Man. I was looking at the pay-per-vieiew. Obviously, they had the buy-in. I thought the private party match with Angelico and Jack Evans was pretty good. Angelico and Jack Evans attacked them after the match was over, so I guess they're the bad guys in the tag team division, which is not a bad thing. I mean, Angelico and Jack Evans were heels in Lucha Underground too, so I wasn't really surprised by that, but I'm not opposed to it either. So I thought that was some good stuff on there. Let's see what else stood out to me. The first match, the SCU match with Marco Stunt, Luchasaurus, and Jungle Boy, I thought that was a lot of fun. Some cool spots on that. I don't know, maybe like one or two matches I thought dragged, but I thought for the most part, All Out was a good pay-per-view. I don't think it was better than Double or Nothing, but I thought it was a good pay-per-view from top to bottom.
Yeah, it was a really good pay-per-view. It really was.
I know you're short on words today.
No, I'm not.
And let me see. Yeah, no, I liked it.
Hope you are.
You know what? It seemed like at one point everything was almost like a half a step off for some reason. Like everything was like a little bit, but at the same time, I've always liked that. That doesn't bother me. You know what I mean? It makes a company feel a little bit more organic versus too overly scripted or too well polished, you know? I thought the main event was great. I really like Cody and Shawn Spears.
Yes.
Ladder match was crazy.
Yeah.
Battle Royale was good. Yeah, I mean, I liked the show a lot. My man Orange Cassidy got a nice little pop in the middle there.
Orange Cassidy. So he's with the best friends.
Yes.
So is he the best friends, but he never hugs anybody or expresses it?
Probably, yeah. There was something that went back to the days, I think, over in the UK or in Japan. They did something before UK stuff somewhere. I read.
Yeah, they said that the one dude trained.
Really irrelevant at this point.
They said that the one dude trained with Orange Cassidy. So
yes.
Yeah.
I get the indifference from the Dark Order. I understand it now.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about him. You know.
It's odd, man. The dude that barely does moves got the loudest pop out of the entire match in that whole segment. Orange Cassidy got more reaction from the crowd than anything that the Best Friends or Dark Order did in that match.
Yeah.
Because Orange Cassidy is great.
That was the greatest jump through the ropes, too.
Yeah.
I thought the Cody-Shawn Spears match was good. I thought Shawn Spears really stood out to me. I know a lot of people were going crazy for the Arn Anderson spot. I'm glad he didn't attack Tully Blanchard because that would be a disconnect for me because those guys were a tag team with each other. So randomly, Arn Anderson's going to lay out Tully Blanchard. So I'm glad that Arn did the spine buster on Spears instead of Blanchard. I thought it was interesting they had MJF just being out there at ringside. Honestly, for me, one thing I thought was missing from the pay-per-view was either an MJF promo or a match. I like that he's like friends with Cody Rhodes and this and that, and I understand why he was out there, but for me personally, I would just rather see him in a match or him doing his own thing.
I think it was mainly to add a little layer of drama on whether he was going to turn on Cody or not, right?
I guess.
Poor Pharaoh. Poor Pharaoh.
Yeah, that was good.
Felt bad for that poor dog. You can tell it was a mistake.
He did not want the pyro at all.
I don't know if I want to bring any of my animals during the entrance. No.
Yeah, I would.
I would.
I would.
But unless there's Piper or unless there's pyro. If there's pyro, I would not do it.
Yeah. And that was an accident anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yeah. I think that's what they were saying, right?
Yeah.
There was a debate about whether or not Jericho and Hangman Page should be the last match. I thought that was kind of silly because if you're going to crown your first champion, that should be the last match of the show.
Yeah, why is that even being debated? Yeah, that's definitely your main event. My God.
One thing I would say is if Kenny Omega and Pac were not going to be the second to last match of the show, they probably should have been the first one. That would be like the only thing out of the pay-per-view that I would change.
A really good match.
It was a really good match. I just don't know why they were second.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean that's a good question. I mean, I think maybe with their crowds, you got to get them warmed up a little bit first, versus WWE crowds that are so used to getting in at a certain time. Like we're kind of like trained monkeys, you know what I mean? But AEW, with it being a new company, you kind of think a little bit differently. You know what I mean? Like even though bell time might be a certain time, but you don't know if it's the pre-show. Maybe there's longer lines getting in. That was probably just to make sure that everybody was in there for Pac and for Pac and Omega.
Right.
I would assume. I'm probably totally wrong, but
see the ladder match. I agree with you, AJ. That was really good.
Yeah.
Just trying to remember
Also, the one person from Private Party, I don't know what his name is, but he was wearing Outcast socks.
you did pick up on that.
Just need to put that out there.
I didn't pick up on that. You picked up on that.
Yes.
It's a Stankonia album cover. It's Stankonia, man.
Man, I was in elementary school and Outkast was big back then.
Yeah.
I wasn't alive when Outcast was big, okay?
Yes.
But they're still
I
awesome.
was in college.
You were in college.
Yes. I was freshly squeezed.
You're freshly squeezed.
Yeah, that's pretty much it for All Out stuff. I thought it was a good show. Anything else you guys want to talk about from the pay-per-view?
No, I love that Jericho is first AEW champion. Another notch on the mantle of the GOAT.
Yes. I feel sorry that he lost his title, but I'm glad that he got it back.
Right.
Still feels like a work, but it's such a great story.
Speaking of stories, AJ, what do you think about Bayley turning into a bad guy this week?
I really liked it. She seems like the bad guy that's pushing everybody to be a good guy.
Right.
Yeah.
But if you're a good guy, like if you're all about pro this, pro that, but then one of your friends kind of turns on one of those pro things, wouldn't you be like, yo, what you doing? And then just like stop like being friends with them? Just because she's your best friend doesn't mean you still gotta be nice to her.
Well, hey. Yeah, sometimes good girls turn bad.
Yep, she's hanging out with the wrong gang.
It's the wrong crowd. Jesus.
The wrong gang.
I guess you get more shady when you're around Sasha Banks. Just by
Braves has been warning us all along.
Yep. That bad energy just strips on you, you know? You want no part of it.
That's cool. I like their heel turn. It's cool.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to see what direction they go with it.
I wish she would just lose the ponytail.
I think
Probably.
Consider it later.
Yeah.
By the way, SmackDown, she was talking about, did you notice that Adam on SmackDown? She's like, how about your kids?
Right.
I thought that was a cool talking point. Yeah, she's going to get rid of the gas station tube man soon, so.
Hopefully.
Good.
We can only hope.
Yeah, good. We don't need them.
No.
Might be cheap heat, though.
It could. It could. All right, let's wrap up with this. Let's talk about the Firefly Funhouse. What do you guys think about that this week?
I really liked it. I liked that there was a Firefly Funhouse. I thought we were done with them, so I'm actually glad that we're not done with them.
Yeah, I think they're going to keep slipping in and out with these things.
Yeah.
I like it, though. I want to see who he targets next and where they go with it and the like. But, yeah, I liked it.
I just like that they did a trolling segment on the arena, who for whatever reason put it out on their website that Bray Wyatt's going to fight the winner of Seth Rollins and Braun Strowman at Hell in a Cell.
Correct.
That was the whole gist of the whole segment. And anytime you have Evil Vince on there, I think it's some funny shit.
Evil Vince is so funny to me.
Also, one of the puppets, did you notice that Rambling Rabbit got up and Bray Wyatt pushed him down?
Yes.
Because he was holding a "Help me" sign. He was holding a sign that said "Help me," so he quickly pushed him down.
I just like how consistent Rambling Rabbit is, where he wants to tell the secrets of the Funhouse.
All the time.
Every time they do the skits, he always like, help me. and that's going to build up to something later, which is a cool thing.
Yeah, they'll spin it off somehow. It seems like they're well, I don't want to say anything yet because we're pretty early into this character, but it seems like they're already planting seeds for stuff that's going to happen in the future, and it doesn't seem like we're going to have loose strings like we normally do. If that makes sense, you know what I mean? Bray, take the wheel.
The best part about the Funhouse and everything Bray Wyatt's doing is it's less is more.
Yes.
Anything else you guys wanted to add on to it?
So what I wanted to add on to it is that I also like that whenever Bray Wyatt shows Evil Vince the money, Bray Wyatt isn't going to get fired. Because he feeds Vince money and Vince eats it.
That is so great.
See you in hell. Bye. Bye. I really enjoyed this Straight Up Steve Austin show with Becky this week.
Yes.
Stuff. Did they say how many more episodes they're going to do of that show or no?
I'm not sure. They usually do 6 shows for an initial run, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, probably 2 more. Yeah, that's pretty much it. We're gonna wrap things up. Gotta get out in a couple minutes anyway. But AJ, I want to thank you as always for coming on the show as always.
No problem. I love coming on here. What? I love coming on here. Don't laugh. Stop laughing.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye-bye.
All right, brother. We're about to wrap things up real quick. I want to thank you guys so much for taking time out of your schedule to listen to our show this week. Make sure to subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts. Follow the show on Spotify. Bookmark ProWrestlingTranscripts.com if you want to check out the show and all the articles that I do. Also, you can follow me on Twitter at the Hoots Podcast. I'm on Instagram at Joshie Lopez 94. And that's pretty much it, man. Adam, anything else you wanted to mention before we head out this week?
Not much, man. It's been, like I said, it's been a crazy busy week. Again, I really wasn't feeling that great this week, so I don't really have that much to toss on there. Yeah, hope everyone enjoys the first football weekend. Let's go Raiders, and then we'll talk next week.
Alrighty. For the Cloud Prince and AJ, I'm Joshie. Thank you guys so much for checking out episode 171 of the Hoots Podcast. Go Bears. And we'll talk to you guys next week. It'll make our predictions for Clash of Champions, which is a week from this Sunday. So the grind of wrestling and all these shows never stops. So thank you guys so much for taking time out of your schedule. We know you're very busy and we're appreciative of your time. So thank you guys, and we'll talk to you guys next week. Peace.